En la voz de Silvia Layana.
One word we see like a king, the thaw and I pour, were we with hell and land that stood against him, brought that war's army and sung him homeward to things again. And in the past we must remain, but we can still rise now and be the nation again that stood against him, brought there was army and sent him homeward to things again. Oíd el ruido de rotas cadenas, ved el trono a la noble igualdad, ya su trono dignísimo abrieron las provincias unidas del sur. Salud, y los libres del mundo responden al gran pueblo argentino. Salud, sean eternos los laureles que supimos conseguir.
Rousing, emotional Argentina anthem. Argentina and Scotland, of course, 2 games into their June internationals with contrasting fortunes. Argentina have lost their 2 tests in the mini-series with Ireland. They win both matches. The Pumas were very combative, while Scotland have been in North America, beating the USA in the heat of Houston, the humidity, and then squeezing past Canada in rather more temperate Toronto. Both tests conducted under the control of the new coach Vern Cotter, and the referee for this one is the former Munster winger Johnny Lacey. Well, Scott Hastings, Scotland off 2 wins, but Argentina will feel they can win this one.
Yeah, very much so. Their series against Ireland was very interesting, very close, but also Scotland just squeezed a victory against Canada by 2 points. Rather unfortunate for the Canadians, but against the USA, Scotland had a good win, 24 points to 6. It's all about an improvement. This is a new Scotland look team. Which players will put their hands up for their new coach, Vern Cotter?
Well, it's Duncan Weir in the 10 shirt. Vern Cotter is certainly getting a look at a lot of Scottish players on this tour. A fresh bunch arrived via Heathrow earlier this week, having trained for a couple of weeks at Murrayfield. Jonathan Humphreys, he flew over, the forwards coach from North America, to Murrayfield to help them out. He said it was a rather surreal experience. So can Scotland play rather more cohesively than they did against Canada? Here is Maitland, and now it's Nick DeLuca, who is trying to reinvent himself as an international centre, getting a second bite here.
Okay, it's just a collapse.
Scotland, a lot of injuries on this tour and before this tour, before the squad even assembled. A lot of players were knocked out of contention. In the centre, for example, well, already Matt Scott, Alex Dunbar before the tour, and Duncan Taylor on it were injured. So bare bones in a lot of areas. The Argentine scrummage did not go that well against Ireland. They were very dominant in this particular area, and for this test match Argentina have changed their entire front row, and it's a very young front row at that. Can Scotland take advantage? There's plenty of experience in there with Alistair Dickinson, Jeff Cross and Ross Ford. They've been around a while and they win the first penalty.
Well, great tight scrum there for Scotland. We heard in the studio through Alistair Kellock earlier on, well, one of the strengths of the Scotland pack was undoubtedly their front row. They got the engagement right there. They got the first shove on that Argentine pack, and as you saw from the graphic that popped up, Scotland heavier in this department, and this is an area they must dominate. And the size of Ross Ford, you know, he's a chunky unit there. The former Scotland captain, obviously winning his, he's going to become the most capped Scotland hooker today, and that will give him a great lot of pride as well.
Yeah, Ross Ford passing the record of Gordon Bullock today. Duncan Weir in the 10 shirt. Finn Russell has impressed in recent times in that Scotland 10 jersey, so giving Vern Cotter another option there. Rory Jackson is one of the injured players. Big raft of injured players. Gilchrist, the captain today, Scotland's youngest captain since Gregor Townsend. But the penalty this time going to Argentina, played on the floor by Peter Horn.
Sorry?
We are not Alessandri and Simone, by the way.
Yeah, they're just along the bench from us. But Peter Horn there, he's got himself back into contention. Got a really bad leg injury in South Africa last season. Ended up playing for the Glasgow Warriors after a full season of rehab back in April. So it's good to see Horn in the centre with a new relationship with Nick DeLuca. You almost thought that his international career was over, but he's got a real opportunity to really stamp his mark. He's a clever stepper of a player.
Montoya goes to Cariza, and it's one of the new centre pairing, Gonzalez Iglesias, who takes the ball. Azcárate and De La Fuente with a centre pairing in both tests against Ireland, so they've changed up there. Azcárate was injured in the second test, and here is Harley, and Scotland winning the ball back. Now Peter Horn, he was out for 10 months with a knee injury. Good to see him back. And in goes Gilchrist again. Some of Scotland's handling was pretty poor in the game against Canada, and that's an area they will be looking, I'm sure, to sharpen up.
Well, you mentioned in that game, Robbo, that alongside was Greg Laidlaw, who was at scrum half, and Grayson Hart is in the scrum half position. But Laidlaw after that game was saying he felt that Scotland lost their shape, and this is where Scotland must have their shape. They must retain their systems, run the good angles, retain that possession, and if Scotland are to make an improvement in what I would suggest is two stronger test matches against Argentina and South Africa, they must eliminate mistakes like that.
Argentina named, or Scotland rather, named the original 43-man squad, split into two. 9 players scheduled to compete in both sections. Part 1, USA, Canada, And then the fresh men arriving for part two. Duncan Weir. Here is Stuart Hogg. Scored an excellent try against the USA. A high take and then a scamper from 60 metres all the way to the USA line. We know how potent this Scotland back three could be with Seymour and Maitland and Stuart Hogg in there. Now it's Gilchrist. 23 years, 315 days is his age. As I said, the youngest Scotland captain since Gregor Townsend, and Scotland making some advancement down that far side.
Yeah, I think Scotland, although they put the grubber kick in, it came off an Argentine hand, so they'll have the throw in at this line out. Ross Ford will take this. Again, all about the accuracy of the line out.
Numbers you count, not me. You count.
Potter been working his troops hard in training alongside Jonathan Humphreys and get the call right. Johnny Gray there.
Ross Ford, who got the hook in the game against England. 4 very dodgy throws in the first half. Has to be accurate here, finds Gilchrist. And the centre is working in tandem. That's Nick DeLuca taking the pass from Peterhorn. Grayson Hart at scrum half today. The nephew of the former All Black coach, John Hart. Now it's Jeff Cross. Part of that extremely experienced triumvirate in the front row. Off goes Johnny Gray, brother of Richie Gray. Duncan Weir going into contact, tackled by Cadiza, the Stormers' second row forward, the most experienced forward in this Argentina team. The average age of the pack, the Pumas, is just 23. Here is Grayson Hart once more. Like, can Scotland penetrate? It's been a big problem for them through the Six Nations. And here's a try for Scotland, surely. The little popped inside ball, and it's Stuart Hogg who was on the end of it after excellent work from Tommy Seymour.
Well, great delight here from Scotland to go in at the corner there, but for me, Nick DeLuca, watch this pass that DeLuca puts on, hits Seymour, who ran down the touchline with such pace. The pass did it for me for this try, and the backup and support from Hogg. We talked about the attack down the flanks through Seymour and Hogg, and that linkage play has brought an early try in for Scotland.
Well, that is just the start. I've just been mentioning the potential of the Scotland back three, and then 2 of them produce a try with a tremendous assist from Nick DeLuca. And Nick DeLuca is a real focal point in the back line. He's the man with the most experience in that department, winning his 42nd cap, and it showed there. And a really decent looking strike there from Duncan Weir, whose percentage success rate in the Pro 12 this year was high. Did Hogg ground this? Well, as Kubeli came back to make the tackle.
Well, he's still got his body down on the ball. It's all about the contact of the ball with the grass, so undoubtedly our Argentine production team will be scrutinising that, but the referee John Lacey has given it. But Scotland have started confidently. You'll notice they've done well in the scrum, the set piece, well in the line out, well in the kickoffs.
It's not a stadium Scotland have great memories of, the Estadio Mario Kempes. 1978 World Cup. Ali's Tartan Army came here and lost to Peru and drew with the Ram. You remember that, Scotty, don't you?
I was watching that game at home.
The Argentina football team playing around tomorrow. One of the reasons why this game is being played on a Friday afternoon. These two met in an infamous World Cup game in 2011 when Argentina won by 1 point thanks to a superb late try by today's fullback Lucas Gonzalez Amorosino, converted by Felipe Contepomi nervelessly.
I remember being in Wellington on that day, and he came off the bench to score the try. 6 minutes he'd been on the pitch in very, very wet conditions, and broke Scottish hearts that day.
He also scored a late try against Ireland in that second test in Tucuman, Amorosino. the versatile Amorosino. And again, Scotland, look at the work they're doing at this scrummage. And you feel this may well be an area of pain for Argentina, but that's Sanchez, who's had 2 good tests against Ireland, apart from throwing an intercept in the first test, which led to an Andrew Trimble try. But his general control of the game has been excellent, as has his running with ball in hand. So keep an eye on the Argentine number 10. Here he is again. And here is González Amorosino running the arc. Argentina 17 line breaks in the 2 tests against Ireland. A lot of them through the middle of the field, an area you'd expect to be well protected. And Argentina give away another penalty. And it's a bit of a lazy entry from the side there by the second row, Matias Alemano.
Yeah, I think one of the key areas within this game, Mark, as you mentioned, was going to be that midfield battle between González and Iglesias, who's moved out from the fly-half position to that inside centre position and linking up with Matias Orlando. And it's whether De Luca and Peter Horn can exploit that. De Luca's carried once, he lost the ball there, having made the try. And good pass work earlier for Scotland. And De Luca must eliminate, again, the errors from his game.
Well, ball back in Argentina hands there. Disappointing for Scotland, but they have it again through Hogg.
Yeah, good territory find there, the spiral kick. He was this crunching tackle, and the turnover here, the interception came through Sanchez, who read it so well. Great to see young Grant Gilchrist captain his country, and one for the future.
Great day for Craigbank Primary School, their first ever Scottish captain. So Thomas Cabelli in for Martin Landagio, who'd like his out-half partner Sanchez, 2 excellent tests against Ireland. And he's on the bench today, and Harley gets the ball away to Tommy Seymour. What a start Seymour has made. Oh, he just needed the bounce there, and Scotland would have been in for a second try. González Amorosino fires a wild pass. Here is Orlando. This is another aspect of the Argentine play from the Ireland test. They were not afraid to attack from deep, and they did score a spectacular try from well inside their 22 against the Irish. They show a lot of courage with ball in hand, no matter where they are on the pitch with rugby like this. And this is Iglesias on the chase, and across comes Stuart Hogg. Great little pop ball, and now it's De La Vega, try scorer in the first test against Ireland. Now it's Kubeli. Can they find some space? Little chip through. Sanchez can't get the second toe to the ball, but he can get his hands to it. Now it's Kubeli.
10 release now.
Good position this for Argentina. Sanchez always challenging the defensive line as Sanchez. De La Vega takes it on for Argentina. Here's Kubeli, and Kubeli almost squeezing through. Referee playing the advantage here to Argentina. Baez looking for the wide ball on the outside, and they've responded through Ortega Decio, and that came from underneath their own post originally, Argentina, and that's what I mean about their ability to counter-punch from any part of the park.
Well, ball retention from Argentina, out the top drawer. Great chase here, wasn't it, from Iglesias. Hogg came across, and Iglesias kept in touch. And again, the quality of the pass on the outside. There was advantage being played by referee John Lacey. And out on the far side, Sean Maitland, he got sucked in to the defence. You see Maitland, he had to cover 2 players, so he came in, gave the space on the outside, and Argentina exploited it.
Looks like we could have a cracking game of rugby here in the warm sunshine of Córdoba. The Argentine players have moved 322 miles south from their base last week in Tucumán, having moved 560 miles from Resistencia on the east side. Nothing compared to Scotland's odyssey of 11,880 miles for the 4 test matches.
You've obviously been clocking your air miles, Mark.
I'm very close to a gold card.
But great play by Argentina to come back into the game, and it just goes to show how dangerous they are, as you said, on that counter. Full of enterprise, this young team, selected and coached by Daniel Hucad.
Former Argentina Sevens player Javier Ortega Decio scores his 4th try for Argentina. He started both of the games in the Consur Cup, which was played in May, the South American Championship against Chile and Uruguay. So this particular Argentina squad, as Cordero goes, have been together for quite a while. They also played in the Pacific Nations Cup in March, which they won down in Australia, playing the likes of Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, the Queensland Reds and the Brumbies A teams.
And the fact they've got a settled selection really from players plying the trade, playing the rugby in Argentina.
So Ross Ford looking to find his man again. They go to the tail this time to Harley, and that's a good line-out ball, and it's Tommy Seymour really heavily involved in this opening 15 minutes for Scotland, coming in but knocking the ball on. And again, the scrummage here is going to be interesting, because the famed bajada that Argentina have been notorious for through the decades at scrum time, it really has been missing over these 3 test matches. But of course, so much inexperience in this young Argentina pack.
Yeah, very much so. And Scotland are settling into the scrum, and lots of experience through Dickinson, Ford and Cross. And if they can set the platform, they've got a couple of good men in the boiler house, Johnny Gray and Grant Gilchrist. But this is a young, exciting pack from Argentina. You can see perhaps a little bit more fluency within their play. Solid scrum from both packs though on this occasion.
This is Cubelli to Sanchez, and it's a lovely little move. There's Lucas Gonzalez-Amorecino. He's hurt Scotland in the past. Is he going to hurt them here? No. Duncan Weir sweeps back for Scotland to cut out the danger. But they are determined to attack, and to be fair, both sides are determined to attack.
Well, Amorecino really goes hunting for the ball well. He started some of the action down on the 22 that led to the try for Argentina, and Amorecino, while getting nudged out there, just put a little bit too much on that kick, as Duncan Weir will relieve some of the pressure for Scotland.
Here is Cordero, the diminutive right wing for Argentina, 12 stone 4. The other winger, Manuel Montero, is 16 stone, scored an absolutely spectacular try in the first test against Ireland. And Scott Hastings knows I have a very soft spot for Manuel Montero, and if he gets a crack at the Scottish defence today, you'll see what I mean.
He's an exciting player, the left winger from Argentina.
Yeah, remarkably, Montero has scored 12 tries in just 13 appearances. So again, to be fair, a lot of those tries have come against weaker nations like Brazil and Uruguay, who Argentina always beat comfortably. Montoya, that's a poor line-out throw. The line-out did not function at all well against the Irish. And again, excellent ground gain by Scotland, putting themselves into a very tasty position on the pitch.
Duncan Weir will be delighted with that kick. You saw his automatic reaction when it popped and bounced favourably into his arms. Head down, nailed the absolute ball. And Rob Harley there, his Glasgow Warriors teammate, well, as a forward, you love that type of ball, because now you put the pressure on that Argentine line-out. You put the squeeze and the pressure on the hooker, Montoya.
Oh, that was hard and fast at Carissa, and a really difficult ball for Carissa to deal with there. There's been a knock on, and And Johnny Lacey
Go away.
just making sure that tempers do not escalate here. The Scotland captain, Grant Gilchrist, making his mark.
Just come here, Captain.
Apologise for any bad language you may have heard there.
I don't need you to speak, okay? Sorry, okay, I have that. I was just about to speak to him. It was unnecessary. Didn't call for it. I had a word. That type of language is unacceptable in the field. Finish now.
Johnny Lacey speaking to Grant Gilchrist, and it was Blair Cowan in there into the back row for Scotland today, where Scotland have a long list of injuries.
Well, I thought Blair Cowan actually did well there, because he went in, he alerted it to John Lacey, just reinforced the point that there was a little kick to somebody's head there that was unnecessary, yet the language was bad. But at the same token, it's all about Scotland now scrummaging, putting this Argentine scrum under pressure.
Picked up number 8 by De La Vega. In goes the bulky figure of the Argentine number 6, Baez, but running into his own player there. So it'll be a Scottish scrummage here, and a real opportunity to put some pressure on this very, very inexperienced Argentine front row.
Well, Mark, the mistake originally to give Scotland the territory came from an overthrow from Montoya, put Scotland down into there from Duncan Weir's kick. Scotland put the pressure on the line-out. Again, the set piece working well in the line-out. Now they need to put pressure on the scrum.
Well, quicker, boys,
Argentina making 9 changes from the side that lined out against Ireland and Tucuman. Only 4 remain on the Scottish side from the Canada test in Toronto. And powering through there goes Scotland. But I think John Lacey will be looking for a reset. But that looked ominous from the Scots.
Strom.
Well, if you're a Scottish supporter, you'd say encouraging.
Yeah. 7th meeting between these two in Argentina, 3 wins apiece. Argentina missing 13 European-based players who'll soon be playing in the Rugby Championship. They go into camp soon in Pensacola in Florida. At the moment they're on a well-deserved holiday after long seasons in Europe. So Daniel Hurcade relying on mostly on his Pampa squad, punctuated with a few European players, mainly French-based. In goes Grayson Hart. Good solid scrummage. Duncan Weir and DeLuca on the switch ball. Grayson Hart, he tries to ferret his way through that Argentine defence. And Scotland in a very good position here. It's Blair Cowan who picks it up, gets helped out by Grayson Hart. They really did defend very stoutly and bravely against the Irish for the most part in those test games. Oh, and Scotland not releasing and giving away the penalty. So huge frustration for them and their new coach Vern Cotter in a really strong position on the field.
Well, Mark, just looking at that Scotland drive, and sort of brings back memories of Scotland's performance in the Six Nations, where they would play what I would call huff and puff rugby. They would actually pick and go and drive, get within inches of the line and then commit the error. On that occasion, although it was for holding on, there was also 3 or 4 players died on the ball, didn't stay on their feet. And if Scotland could get their rucking and driving positions right, there was no momentum really here for Gray. Down he goes, didn't stay on his feet long enough to give that front foot rugby and that quick ball for Grayson Hart.
With the second test, would you believe Argentina used 5 different throwers at the line out, and none of them could throw it? And there's another example, Montoya. It's just not working at the line out again for Argentina. Been a real problem for them this June. Duncan Weir, here is Montero. Kubeli and Sanchez clears. Now here's a position, bit of space for Stuart Hogg. He just loves open turf and positions like this. Tackled by Orlando.
Use it!
Now Johnny Gray coughs it off to Kieran Lowe. 2 London Irish players in the back row for Scotland today. And it's Maitland, the British and Irish Lion, who comes in off his wing.
Backwards.
Pretty even on the tackle front.
Hold.
Jeff Cross this time, trying to make a metre or two. Got to make sure he's not isolated here. It's Gilchrist. Gilchrist again, surging away. And creeping metre by metre here are Scotland. Grayson Hart to Sean Maitland. 2 kilted Kiwis together. Grayson Hart, Tommy Seymour just driven into touch there. And that was simple enough defending in the end for Thomas Kubeli.
It's simple enough, but you're running down a rabbit hole there. You've got 2 yards to operate. Grayson Hart surely had to go onto the open side, readjust his set-up play. Sean Maitland's taken a couple of knocks as well in that last movement.
Well, Scotland have mentioned that there are a lot of injuries pre-tour. Ryan Grant, Dougie Hall, Ross Rennie, Ryan Wilson, Al Kellock in the studio for us today, Matt Scott, Alex Dunbar, Chris Cussiter. Take a deep breath. Injury since the tour began. Dave Denton, Jim Hamilton, Duncan Taylor, Ali Strokosh, Kelly Brown, Johnny Beattie, Rory Jackson.
It's quite a good team that you've just mentioned.
But it shows you the difficult situation Vern Cotter has had to deal with, and how deep he has had to go into Scottish rugby to get the team out on the pitch today, and what will be left for next week in Port Elizabeth against South Africa.
Let's go, boys. Yeah, it's not an injury, come on. Okay. Time on, hold.
It's outside the IRB window, so Al Kellock was speaking to him down the line before the game, and he was saying that the London Irish players, Kieran Lowe and Blair Cowan, they won't be available. Montoya. Here's Tommy Seymour, Nashville born. Played for Ulster. Taken on by Ross Ford. Good drive by Ford. And they got over the ball well there, did Argentina. That is good work by the flank forward, Baez. The man from Mendoza, where they make wonderful Malbec, Roble Malbec. Apparently because they grow the grapes at altitude in the sunshine, Scott.
I was just about to say my mouth was beginning to water, but I was actually just looking at Ross Ford there, and you know, the guy does a lot of good work in that loose. I want to see more of Ross Ford driving into carrying the ball like this, but he then got slightly isolated. Gilchrist lost his marker, and Argentina went over the top, and Rodrigo Baez, who's a big unit, this blindside flanker for Argentina, managed to put pressure over the contact area, and Ford didn't release ball, and they've given Argentina a real attacking platform here.
Montoya, just 20 years of age, the oldest player in the Argentina front row is 21. They really are missing Matthias Cortesi today, the experienced man in the front row who injured his knee against the Irish. Blair Cowan goes in and tries to get over the ball this time for Scotland. But Argentina still have the ball, and it's taken on by De La Vega. Benjamin McComb played against Ireland first test Resistencia, had an exceptional game but broke his arm in the final minute of that match. Another player that Argentina are missing today. Here is Kubeli, and they might have a crack at the drop at goal here. It wasn't the best of passes, but it's been completed successfully by Nicolas Sanchez. He had to pick the ball off his bootlaces there.
Well, Sanchez right back in the pocket. And it's amazing how quickly Argentina got themselves back into this game, having released an early try to Scotland.
A lot of depth on the restart. Taken by De La Vega. 15 tackles he made in the second test when he played on the open side, moving to number 8 today. Well, Scotland, they missed 30 tackles in total against the USA and Canada. Scotland made twice as many tackles as Canada in that test match in Toronto, and it definitely was a game that they could have lost.
Well, the big talking point, Mark, wasn't it? It was the Canadian Jeb Sinclair who ran at Rory Jackson with the open forearm and adjudged to be illegal and sent off, and yet we do see it week in, week out.
And at the time, Canada had a penalty pretty much underneath the Scotland post, which was, of course, reversed after that red card. And if that penalty had been successfully converted by James Pritchard, it could indeed have been a Scottish defeat. Here is Jeff Cross to Ross Ford.
Move, tackler.
Blair Cowan picks up. Does well. Makes those all-important extra inches, and it's taken by Santiago Cordero, the 20-year-old winger. Started against Italy and Wales in November in the autumn series. Here's a man who's been around. Leicester fans will remember González Amorosino, as will Montpellier fans. He's now at Oyonnax. Top 14 will be live on Sky Sports next season. 55 games to bring you a lot to look forward to.
Très bon.
Well, the Scotland line-out certainly functioning a lot better than the Argentine one so far until then. Fibelli finds Cordero. 4 takes from Cariza, and one of those now against the head. So Cariza, who had a quiet series against Ireland, really coming into the game now a little bit more. A man who has Heineken Cup final experience for Biarritz.
And Mark, just a pattern of play just happening within the Scotland camp. It was Ford who got penalised for holding on to the ball that ultimately led to the line-out, and then the drop goal there by Sanchez on that occasion, losing line-out ball. Argentina find a little bit more of territory. So for me, Grayson Hart again spilling away ball, and by coughing up possession like that, it just plays into the Argentine hands.
That's more like it. Gilchrist taking a very sweet ball on the line out there. 4 takes for him. The Scotland captain, very, very proud day indeed for him. He was quite shocked, I think, when he got the call from Vern Cotter. Here is Montero, 16 stones. He's got a great outside arc and step, as he showed against the Irish. He really did bamboozle the Irish defence with that try. So on the half hour, Argentina just the 1 point ahead. And this time looking for territory.
Sanchez starting to make a little bit of a mark in this game. I like the way he plays flat to that gain line, gives himself enough time to sort of sweep that almost a football-like cross down towards that 22. And again, just an indication of that they're quite happy playing the territory, Argentina.
Sanchez, who played all 6 games in the Rugby Championship last season and all 3 November tests. So he is the starting senior 10 at the moment for Argentina. He's pretty good in the air too.
Ball is out.
Here is Kubeli. De La Vega. Kubeli with a little inside ball, trying to catch out the Scotland defence. Picked up by Desio, the try scorer for the Pumas.
See the way the Argentina are just going and they're flopping on the ball. They're not giving Scotland an opportunity to attack.
Well, they've thrown 1 intercept already this June of Argentina through Sanchez to Trimble. Tommy Seymour, the man making the effort there.
He's had a good season, played so well in the Six Nations, scored an excellent try against France, and Seymour on that occasion, well, you can see the line ahead of him if he got that one.
Okay,
Saw it coming, didn't quite have the super glue on the palms of his hands to run it in.
Well, the Pumas, they've only won once at home in their last 12 test matches, would you believe? That was 29-18 against Georgia in San Juan last June. And their win against Italy in their November tour ended a run of 8 defeats.
Kind of lying around there.
But remember, this is the second string Pampa squad who won the Pacific Cup. But they have been together now for the best part of 4 months, this Puma squad. And they'll be significantly strengthened when the likes of Juan Imhoff and Fernandez Lobe arrive from their training camp in Florida for the Rugby Championship. And Martin Hernandez also missing, so some big names amongst those 13 Europeans. Leguizamon.
Okay. I'm going to speak to him now. It's a little bit too much downward pressure on his shoulder. Get it up and get your binds. Okay?
Maybe young Argentina front row, but the tight head there, Matias Diaz, is very highly rated. He plays for the Highlanders in Super Rugby. Started against South Africa in the Rugby Championship last season, although it was the 73-13 defeat, the one they don't like to talk about. It's a better scrummage by Argentina. Oh, and it's in amongst the Scotland feet though, isn't it? And Blair Cowan has it. Gets the offload away to Grayson Hart. Duncan Weir again decides that looking for territory is the best option, but he's put too much on that one. And that's disappointing, because they've got to come a fair distance back here.
Well, we're getting into the territory where there's been half a dozen errors, as our Argentine producer suggests that this is knocked forward. Stuart Hogg in the act of scoring, but of course his body went beyond the ball.
You want to use the ball
to try and
in the scrum?
They can't go to the TMO now.
It's a bit late, yeah. Montoya, the hooker, scored a try on his debut against Chile in that Concert Cup when Argentina scored 21 tries over the 2 tests. That's Alemano. Came down hard there. And looked like a knock on there, but John Lacey says it went backwards.
Use it!
Not tackled. Baez gets a good little tight offload away there in a confined space. In comes Alemano to help. Kubeli. And they're going to try another drop goal, are they, from long range? Well, this is a way they feel they can pick up points here against this Scottish side. It was Sanchez again.
Yeah, well, this one just pulling it left a wee bit. Certainly had the range, just didn't get the accuracy. And as we come into the last few minutes before half-time, well, Scotland, they started strongly. I felt their set piece was operating really well, but I think they just made too many mistakes in the second quarter.
Just didn't use the ball, yeah.
And if they go in at half-time, well, there's obviously lots for Vern Cotter and his team to work on, but from Argentina, they've got themselves back into the game, and they've shown they have real attacking thread. And the half-back combination of Kubeli and Sanchez is one to watch out for. They're controlling the game in that half-back. They're quite happy playing a little bit of the territory, bringing their forwards into the game.
Not to use.
And not afraid of a pop, as we know from the drop goal situation.
No, I know, but
Scotland had a poor Six Nations, as we know.
You're number 3.
Just the one win against Italy, thanks to a late drop goal by today's out half.
Time on. Duncan
Weir. Scott Johnson said we may have to go to a dark place with strong torches. Well, is he right? Do Scotland have to go to dark places before they eventually find the light under Vern Cotter? Again, they're making good meterage through their forwards. And it's Cordero who's tackled well by the captain, Grant Gilchrist. Here's Kubeli. And Baez, well tackled. And it's Cariza. And they look comfortable, the forwards, with ball in hand. Kubeli, and it's Nick DeLuca who comes flying in, trying to isolate the scrum half here. Pretty even on the territory front in this first half. Try a piece. You see Baez as a ball carrier, don't they? He's well over 17 stones, but they've given away a penalty this time in the breakdown.
Yeah, Grant Gilchrist, the Scotland skipper, with another super tackle there on Baez. Took a little bit of a knock as well.
Scottish side wearing black armbands today in memory of Kerry Holsworth, the ex-Scottish women's international and physio, who died in a car accident last week.
Yeah, play on. Dion, can you hear me?
Gilchrist, well, this is DeLuca going over the top first of all.
Please, you can't see.
And Gilchrist comes in, makes that tackle, then it gets a bit of a knock just here.
Sorry?
Looks so innocuous. Just a mention on Kerry Holdsworth. She was the physio at the Watsonians Club in Edinburgh. Mark and the club have just honoured her by naming the physio room at the clubhouse there, the Kerry Holdsworth physio room, and such tragic circumstances, and our thoughts go out to her family, and it's a great mark of respect that the Scotland team are wearing those armbands, and it's the fact that it crosses both sides of the game as well. I think it's a great testimony that the Scotland players recognise that, and well done to Watsonians as well.
Taken by Kieran Lowe. Johnny Beattie, another number 8 versatile back row forward. Johnny Beattie, another one of the injured many. And here's, it was a good drive at the front, but they didn't have the ball. Here's Grayson Hart, and up they come hard and fast in defence, Argentina, and that's good work. I think it was Iglesias who made the tackle there, so he came firing out of the line with some impact. Here's Grayson Hart. Cariza makes the tackle. They had more line breaks than Ireland across the two tests, Argentina.
And hands away.
And in general, the defence was reasonably sound.
Side.
But in from the side come Argentina in the final minute of this first half. And a chance from this position, you would think, for Scotland to take a lead into the break.
Yeah, again, that flood defence from Argentina coming in. They drove well Scotland off that line out. And then when Grayson Hart spun round and attacked, it was Duncan Weir who absolutely got chopped by Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias. Sometimes as an inside centre, you read these moves, you see them, you come out the line, and he did very well putting Scotland under pressure. But Scotland now with the opportunity of closing out the half with a slender 2-point lead.
Duncan Weir, former member of the Celtic Dream Team a couple of years ago, when he had a sensational season for his club at 10, and then broke his leg the following year and was out for a considerable length of time. So good to see him back up to full speed. Not quite from Duncan Weir, and it's right on the hooter. So it's Argentina who take the lead into half-time. A try apiece, some entertaining rugby in that first 40 minutes. Both sides keen to play, but at the moment it's the Pumas who are in front.
Well, it started with a bang for both these sides. Scotland set us off with Stuart Hogg, but from long range the hosts responded. It is tight in Córdoba. The Pumas at the moment by 1. So here's how the scorers have seen it. Ortego Decio, that lovely try, finished off from long range. Sanchez, the drop goal. He's positioned himself nicely for a couple of cracks. Stuart Hogg, the try scorer early, and Duncan Weir converted it, missed the penalty late on to take the half-time lead. How's Vern Cotter just at the moment, do you feel, in terms of his expectations, what he's hoping to see from these players today?
Probably not all that happy with the execution. Certainly in the last 20 minutes of that half. Hugo touched on it earlier. Continual improvement. He wants to see the boys getting better and better every week. And at the moment, we're playing into Argentina's hands a little bit for me. I believe we'll go on. I think we've got too much rugby. Our set piece is too strong. I think we'll go on and win this game. But he'll be looking to make sure that the execution's spot on in the second half. How
pleasing is that from a Scottish perspective to be in Argentina and be able to say our set piece is too strong for them, our set piece is too good for them?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to mark it with what they're playing against. You know, the scrum is a weakened front row for Argentina. Yes, we've got guys missing as well, but you know, the reality of the situation is we should be on top probably here. We've dominated. One thing we mentioned with Al is Grant Gilchrist. You know, in the line out, I think he's been outstanding. You know, the call in the line out. There was one moment in the first half, where he just missed. They just missed the line out, and the next one he called it to himself. And you know, great maturity for a young guy as captain. He's taken the lead. So the scrum and line out has been absolutely outstanding, and we just need to get the other parts of the game together with it to make it into a winning performance.
Yeah, ball on the front foot. Seeing that width, would you imagine that is the game plan? I mean, are we likely to see many changes with the strength on the bench?
I think firstly we'll see a similar game plan, trying to hit it up tight but better execution so we can then release the ball. I really like the bench. I mean, I know a lot of the Glasgow boys obviously extremely well. It's a great bench for coming on this game. Those guys are going to come on and add value. They're going to work hard. But that's a bench that can win you a game, definitely.
Yeah. And do you expect him to go to it straight away, or is this a question? I mean, he's just getting to know these players. Half of them have just arrived in Argentina the last few days.
Yeah, I think a few of them will come on, but they're going to have to use the players that are actually going to make a difference. You know, they want to win the game ultimately, but he's going to want to see all these players over the next couple of weeks. That's sort of what the tour's about.
In terms of missed opportunities, you talk about execution. Scotland did get themselves into 3 or 4 scoring positions in that first half. Only really took the one.
Yeah, we've got to tighten up on the mistakes. Donkey missed a penalty to touch. You get a line out 10 metres out, then that's a great opportunity to try and score. Credit to Argentina. Argentina, towards the end of that game, they played a good territory. They pushed us back. But I think that there'll be more opportunities. We'll get the guys, the good runners on the ball.
Yeah. No surprise, of course, how strong Argentina over the ball at the breakdown always have been, and likely, even with all their changes, always will be as well. This is a close one in Argentina. Thanks for joining us this Friday evening, 8-7. Let's hand you back over now to Scott and Mark.
Come on.
Nicolas Sanchez dropping a goal in the first half. Drops the ball off his toe to start the second half. Scotland 16 games, including this tour, before their first World Cup match against Japan at Kingsholm in September of 2015. Here is Tommy Seymour, made a really good start to this game. Some electric interjections, including the pass that set up the try for Stuart Hogg.
Hold, stay.
Here is Sanchez. It's Santiago Cordero. He's got very fast speed as Cordero. The man you have to hound down quickly. In comes Blair Cowan. Kubeli looking on the outside. Argentina, but the flag is up on that far side. And Scott Hastings, the breakdown seems to be a problem. What would you do?
Yeah, it was interesting listening to Alistair Kellogg back in the studio earlier on. He was just talking about his confidence within the bench. I just thought that maybe Chris Fusaro might just start the second half because they need that genuinely fast open side. And whilst I have been impressed with Blair Cowan, I just wondered if it just needed to be changed a wee bit for Scotland to start to compete at that breakdown area, because Argentina were getting that ascendancy there.
Bit of a happy slabby tap back there from Grant Gilchrist. And again at the breakdown. Not releasing, says Johnny Lacey. So a penalty to Argentina, and this is within kicking range.
Holding.
Well, Horn took the ball in there, got isolated a wee bit. In comes the clearance. Sanchez right over the top of the ball. Perfectly entitled to play, but then the bodies flop on.
Yeah, good now, yeah.
Well, he's had a really good June as Nicolas Sanchez.
Shot.
And he's the man there who wins the penalty and may well indeed add another 3 points to his team's total. And this is the game that Argentina have targeted from this June series. They really, deep in their subconscious, didn't truly believe that they would beat the Irish side, the European champions, even though the Irish were missing 14 men. So Nicolas Sanchez, and it's a good strike from the 10. Takes him past 150 points for his country. And already at the beginning of the second half, you can see that there is work to do for Scotland.
Well, Scotland earlier on today were playing against Argentina in the under-20s, the Junior World Championship out in New Zealand, and lost that game by 21 points to 41. I don't know if we're going to have a score line like that in the senior game here.
Okay, Pascal?
Scotland just have to be wary and exercise, as Alistair Kellett was saying, that keep competing in that line out in the scrum area and start to try and dominate the Argentines in what is always a traditional stronghold of theirs.
Ross forward this time to the tail to Kieran Lowe. Here's Grayson Hart, now Peter Horne. Remember, he did have that horrific knee injury that kept him out for so long. Taken by Nick DeLuca. Grayson Hart, Ross Ford, rumbustious front row forward is Ross Ford. All that experience. Grayson Hart, his first start for Scotland for the scrum half. In goes Nick DeLuca again. He's Biarritz bound next season. He'll be coached by the former Ireland coach Eddie O'Sullivan next season. Now it's Johnny Gray to Grayson Hart. Here's Stuart Hogg, and it's taken by Horne, and now it's Seymour once more. And it's Gonzalez Amontosino, and the tackle comes in from Grayson Hart. Good little tap tackle from the Scotland scrum half. And off they go, and driving for the line through Kieran Lowe. Great position for the Scots. Surely they can take it. Oh, no, they cannot take advantage anywhere on the park. And there's a little bit of tip handling going on the outside channel between Hogg and Seymour. Maybe a little bit more patience and composure there, and Argentina might have been cracked.
Yeah, Scotland just got a bit of flat there in the final execution, but well, Tommy Seymour, he is finding space down that left flank, and he and Hogg are working well. But on that occasion, just crept there as the ball came out. Good follow-up tackles there by the Scotland defence.
Well, the line-out throwing from Argentina has been a bit of the pin the tail in the donkey style so far. It hasn't worked that well. This time it does, and it had to, close to their own line. De La Vega, but they've lost the ball. Here's Kieran Lowe, who was very close to that Puma line a short while ago. Johnny Gray, and here's Duncan Weir trying to barrel his way through. Good way to describe Duncan Weir, because that's the shape of the man. And it's taken on by Alistair Dickinson, experienced former Gloucester loosehead. Jeff Cross to Ford. So trying to punish Argentina around the fringes. At the moment, O'Gilchrist has left the ball. There was no scrum half. Little bit back foot from Scotland. And now it's a penalty. Lost forward, and then a Scotsman putting his hands on the ball, and again all very timid and frustrating.
Yeah, it's the errors that coming in from Scotland when they get in a position of ascendancy. It's the errors that are costing them dear. But you were right there about the Scotland skipper, weren't you? The Grant Gilchrist, he had an opportunity just to pick and drive and left the ball as he goes over the top here. There he is. There was an opportunity, pick and drive, go through the middle there. Follow Rob Harley in with the ginger hair, and then the ball ripped out of Duncan Weir's grasp.
Yeah, it was Ross Ford who picked the ball up, so that's what led to the penalty to Argentina.
Call. No choice.
Tedas Chaparro is on for Diaz. Tedas Chaparro,
Yes, stay there, please.
who plays for the Dragons in Wales in the Pro 12. Former Stade prop. A little bit more experience then in the front row with his arrival. This is Kubeli.
Use it!
2 takes in the line out for a loose head. Not a bad return. Decio takes it on. Here's De La Vega again. In goes Kubeli. And Montero is chasing this one. And he hits Maitland. But they come right over the top of the ball. I think it was Sanchez there who toppled across a couple of Scotsmen. And the penalty is conceded.
Maitland, good technique there.
Excuse me.
Fingers to the sky.
Look at me if you want the mark first.
Argentina, you can see them piling over, driving over on that ruck, not staying on their feet.
Argentina's 5th test match in the Estadio Mario Kempes, where they have a 1-2 loss 2 record. Beat Fiji and France here, but they've lost to Italy a couple of times.
Yes.
Scotland off the back of those 2 victories, 24-6 in Houston, 19-17 against Canada and Toronto. 4 tries they scored in total, but Scotland have not won 3 matches in a row for 2 years.
4. You keep the gap on the ball. I get for you as well. Yes.
Coming on this time for Scotland, and it's Henry Pyrgos, the Glasgow player. Off the bench 3 times in last season's summer tour. Henry Pyrgos. So Scotland forming the ball. 5th take in the line out for Kieran Lowe. Dickinson, Pyrgos, flat ball for Nick DeLuca. Was so impressive for Scotland in the Glasgow Sevens in the IRB series this season. Again, Argentina look trying to get over the ball, and they have done it again at the breakdown. They really are very sharp, getting their Pumas talons. Do Pumas have talons? No, they have claws. getting their claws on the ball so quickly.
Yeah, Nicolas Sanchez in there, but again, it's maybe an indication, as I mentioned, Chris Fusaro, the smaller built player, getting into areas like that he is so effective. To look at it well to get the ball back in there. Weir had a little pop here, but they flooded the defensive areas, and Sanchez on his opposite number stole that ball, and Weir trying to hang on.
Sanchez, he's a playmaker, and he's like an extra back row forward at the moment as well. That's a couple of turnovers. Again, the line out is very, very scruffy indeed.
I will not speak to you again. Okay? No more.
It's actually the 3rd hooker that Argentina have tried this summer. Valdez came off the bench for Matías Cortese last week in Tucumán. None of them really have managed to master the art of throwing into the line out this June.
Crouch!
1 point last week, Martin Landagio was throwing in the scrum half.
Use the ball.
Little flick for Kubeli, and then poor hands, advantage here to Scotland. So another scrummage, and a moment of frustration this time for Nicolas Sanchez.
Well, this first 10 minutes of the second half reflecting the last 20 of the first half, and errors strewn from both teams. And really, the third quarter is who can take control of this rugby ball, who can dominate their opposite number.
It's another Iglesias to come on. Iglesias Valdez, the replacement hooker, a 21-year-old replacing a 20-year-old. So again, it shows the vein of inexperience that runs through this Puma squad.
Look at me. Crouch. Bind. Set. Steady. You need to work harder, both of you. Both of you need to work harder to get it up, okay? Yes, sir. Let's go.
And Scotland and Argentina have met 13 times before in Test matches. Scotland winning 4, Argentina 9. But Scotland, pretty remarkably, have won their last 3 Test matches in Argentina, but have lost their last 4 against the Pumas at Murrayfield. It should be the other way around, really.
Bind. Set.
First time ever in Córdoba for Scotland. Not even a touring game has been played here, let alone an international match. Pyrgos, Duncan Weir, and here is Peter Horne inside for Nick De Luca. Pretty well defended by Argentina. Here goes Pyrgos, taken on by Johnny Gray. Played in the Pro 12 final while his brother Richie was playing in the top 14 final for Castres against Toulon. Duncan Weir, here's Peter Horne. Baez makes the tackle. Pyrgos once more, tries to find a way through. Rossford, good offload. Jacob Dickinson, not Alan Jacobson, he's retired. Nick De Luca. Pyrgos, here's the captain, Gilchrist, and now Sean Maitland. The 2 wingers very close together, hugging that far touchline. In goes Rossford, tackled by Iglesias Valdez.
No.
Pyrgos. Scotland attacking this blindside channel through their captain, Grant Gilchrist. Going through the phases, but Jeff Cross being driven back. Remember the Ireland game in the Six Nations. Scotland a lot of the ball in that match, but they could have gone through 5,000 phases and probably not scored a try in that one. Here's Jeff Cross. Finishing has been a problem for Scotland, we know that, for a considerable length of time. Can they finish off here? It's Gilchrist. Pyrgos. Can they convert Scotland? Nick De Luca this time. Pyrgos.
No hands.
Pyrgos again, the ball just slightly slowed down there. It was Orlando who made the tackle around the fringes for Argentina. Advantage here to Scotland, so they got the penalty advantage coming their way.
Well, Scotland would like to get the 5 points rather than the 3 points. They've got to just stay patient, retain their form. Their Achilles heel is not getting over the line. Can they get across that whitewash?
Johnny Gray for Pyrgos, and it's Blair Cowan now. And again, the Pumas come up hard and fast, driving the Scotland ball carriers back.
And offbeat.
Well, the whistle went there, but Blair Cowan actually lost the possession as he went into the contact area there. There he is, the open side.
Yes. Okay. Time off, please. Dion, I can barely hear you, mate.
I'm just going to report it. I'm not going to put it back on the screen. You need to. They've got advantage, but 13 white. There was a dangerous tackle by 13 white. It's not worthy of a yellow card, but at least a penalty. So you must speak to the player. They did gain a sufficient advantage.
Okay, so the better advantage is where I am now. Yes.
Yeah, advantage is sufficient, but it's 13 white.
Okay, I'll have a talk.
Not sure if you heard all that, but the TMO Dion van Bloemsteen saying there was a dangerous tackle by Matthias Orlando.
They got advantage, so you can leave it. Okay. It's fine,
but nothing more than a penalty.
Let me tell you what the reason is first. Is that okay? I just have a dangerous tackle. You must be careful. It would have been a penalty, but there's another penalty here which is more advantageous. So be careful with your tackle. Yes, okay. Penalty is here, no more.
That was a bit Steve McLaren that from John Lacey, wasn't it?
Shot.
Speaking Irish and Spanish.
1 second.
With a Spanish accent, anyway.
Four blue. Replacement.
You'll get some stick for that in Munster, I bet you. They pick those sort of things up down there, you know.
Well, it's the tip tackle, isn't it? He's let go of his man. Ford got his hands down and protected himself on the fall.
Okay.
With the TMO deeming it was worthy of no more than a penalty. But this is a more advantageous position for Duncan Weir to again bring Scotland to within a point, which was the half-time margin. Not getting too much peace and quiet from this vociferous and sizable Córdoba crowd, which is good to see on a Friday afternoon. The sun beginning to set now, and I can tell you here in this part of the world, northern Argentina, whenever the sun goes down, it gets cold instantly. And the replacements beginning to come on for both sides. Tim Swinson is on for Scotland, and Thomas Lavanini, 19, very, very, very impressive, the Racing Metro youngster in the 2 tests against Ireland. 25 tackles he made in those 2 games, and he carried well too. Pyrgos. He's got good distance there. Good clearing kick by the Glasgow scrum half.
At the side of the ruck. Just clear and obvious.
One of the fans here today have come in their club colours, and there's always a sense of family about Argentina as well. There's plenty of mums, dads and kids in the crowd. Oweli is on as well. He started the second test at number 8 against Ireland. Iglesias Valdez. Good line out this time. Hasn't always functioned well in this game. Trying to bring the big 16-stone winger Montero into the game. Harley makes the tackle on Postiglione. And it's another penalty at the breakdown against Scotland. And in that area, they are racking up.
Yeah, Rob Harley on that occasion, deemed not to have got behind
7 up feet. Sorry, excuse me.
The line, and he made his tackle, got back up on his feet, but didn't retire.
7 straight up feet.
Well, maybe John Lacey actually suggesting that Blair Cowan was actually off his feet in the tackle area, but originally he had penalised Robert Harley.
Time on. Shot.
Sanchez will have a pop at goal here.
Yes. Okay. At the next stoppage.
Scotland, the world number 8 side against Argentina, were as high as number 3 just after their 3rd place finish in the World Cup in 2007. Now slipping down to number 11. It's a long way out. On the halfway line in this football stadium. And Sanchez has the distance. He's having a mighty fine all-round game. Couple of errors from Sanchez, but he's winning ball on the deck. He's kicking points. Nogueira Paz is now on for Postiglione. So the entire front row has been changed by the Pumas.
And
here's an interesting replacement as well for Argentina, Martin Landazio. So Landazio and Sanchez, the starting half-backs in the previous 2 June tests, are reunited. Tukelet as well is on for Cordero, and Tukelet ran brilliantly with ball in hand against Ireland. So he may well be an attacking force for Argentina in this final 22 minutes. And here is Landazio. Sanchez. Pyrgos has got to avoid the pigeons, there's plenty of them, and he manages not to kill a bird en route to the touchline.
Well, Pyrgos added a little bit of fizz in Scotland's play earlier on, and going to get Scotland into the territories. Tim Swinson looks on, the replacement for Johnny Gray. Swinson, a hard-working forward. Game's still kind of scrappy, hasn't quite opened up yet, but some strike runners on here for this Argentine side.
Landazio to Iglesias, taken on by De La Vega. Scotland's defence up quickly there. Matt Taylor is the defence coach with Scotland. Landazio. Possession still pretty equal, and it's Iglesias Valdez. Stuart Hogg comes in. Can they get Montero and Tukelet into the game? Tukelet is a great step off the the left foot. This fella Montero can step off both feet, and he's got acceleration as well. This is Landazzo.
And rule 3.
De La Vega pops it on to Lavanini. Landazzo. Sanchez, and here is that man, Tukelet. I told you about Tukelet. Tukelet is such a dangerous runner, and the Scottish defence has been punctured by the Pumas.
Well, a piece of absolute magic from Tukelet. You talked about his dancing feet, Mark Robson, and what a try. I think he scored.
Try yes or no, please.
Try yes or no, that's what you're looking for.
Well, John Lacey deciding to check with Dion van Bloemsteen.
Well, Blair Cowan, the open side for Scotland, was left dead in his tracks as we look at the grounding of the try. Momentum will take him over, surely. Yes, no doubt about that.
And go back to the referee.
Well, he scored a simply sensational
you may award the try
against Ireland.
I may award a try.
You may award the try.
Argentina went the length of the pitch, and he caused damage to the Irish defence throughout both test matches, Tukelet, and he's caused damage to the Scottish defence here in Córdoba.
Blair Cowan, as you can see, there was just a bit of magic feet. Round he goes, outside hog, and just that simple acceleration. But again, for me, the difference is also in Landazzo at scrum half. He's come on, just put a little bit more zip. He was calling the play.
Tukelet is without a club at the moment, Scott. I think he'll be without a club for much longer.
7 blue, 1, 2,
Bordeaux have let him go at the end of his contract.
White.
They're busy.
But he certainly used these 3 tests as a very large shop window. No, not so good from Sanchez this time. So Scotland still within a try of this Argentine side.
Lovely feet, ball in the left hand. Maitland tried to get back, but the step and the angles that he hit, and Tukelet, well, no wonder he's happy with that particular individual brilliance.
Well, Argentina have now scored 2 tries in each of their June tests, so they've been pretty potent. Gordon Reid comes on for Dickinson, Alistair Dickinson in the front row. Scoreboard says 14-10, of course it is 19-10. And off they come again through Baez. And now in support, it's Moroni making his debut, Matthias Moroni. Scotland, you feel now, are in trouble in this game. With that scoreboard, it's Amorosino. Did he knock it forward? Referee John Lacey says there was a fumble.
Yeah, Tommy Seymour on the far side got his hand on the ball. And there's just a little bit of a passion from this Argentine performance.
Scotland now need a converted try and a penalty or a drop goal here. And they've only got 18 minutes in which to achieve it.
Good steady scrums, okay? Good steady.
Well, one Scottish newspaper this season pronounced that Scottish rugby is accelerating at a level of decline that will lead to international oblivion. Was that a little bit hysterical, Scott?
Well, it's maybe symptomatic of where the game is. But you mentioned all the injuries, but Scotland, if they're going to show some heart here, have to take some leadership on. And young Grant Gilchrist's captaincy, I think for me, is crucial.
Fasaro is on now, a little bit late for Scott Hastings' liking. Tommy Seymour. And a good take by Seymour. Brilliant stuff by the left winger. In goes Pyrgos.
Offside, 17
There's an
wide.
offside coming Scotland's way here. Kieran Lowe finds
Advantage.
Peter Horn. Tackled by Moroni.
Still advantage.
Still playing the advantage, or they were, until the referee blew his whistle in the Penalty right in front of the post, so what do they do here?
Well, every time Scotland have put the ball down that left-hand channel, Tommy Seymour's played an excellent game. His game breaks, his line breaks, his kick and chase game has been excellent. But, well, you talked about a converted try and a penalty. I think Scotland will take the penalty to start with.
Yeah.
Still plenty of time on that clock.
Okay.
To get back into the game.
I did say right in front of the post. It was until Johnny Lacey ran over to there. So a slightly more difficult angle for Duncan Weir, and Grant Gilchrist, the Scottish captain, has decided to go for the corner here.
So the big call from young Gilchrist. Now it's up to Scotland. Can they nail their set piece and drive from the line out?
Did score from a catch and drive last week against Canada. And Grant Gilchrist was the try scorer. And it goes to Kieran Lowe. Oh, look at the defence at the ball there by Argentina. They really did power in straight away. Arm out again from Johnny Lacey.
Still advantage.
Can Scotland reset here?
Side entry.
Pick up and drive by John Welsh. Cariza trying to make a mess of it for Scotland in there, and they've almost rolled over the line here, Scotland.
Hold.
Turgos. That's MacArthur. Turgos fires it out to Duncan Weir, Stuart Hogg. Montero comes up fast, but the referee was playing an advantage to Scotland there.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what young Gilchrist will do. Will he go for the kick to touch and drive again?
Yeah.
And several players were injured in
Side
that
taking out the support
phase
guy.
of play. So 2 Pumas are down.
I don't need
plus,
you, thank you. I'll speak to you,
Scotsman,
captain.
Tommy Seymour.
Number
6
6
tries in the Pro 12 this
out.
season for Tommy Seymour, and scored 2 tries against Japan in November. He's in the Scotland 7 side or squad for the Commonwealth Games. He might cause some damage in that competition.
The lifter, too soon. Okay?
Ibrox
Again,
in July to be looked forward to. Ibrox, you were telling me, a sellout for all the sessions, Scott?
Yeah, for the Commonwealth Games, and the 7s, it should be an exciting atmosphere, and the city of Glasgow absolutely buzzing. Argentine fans a little bit nervous, just if Scotland get themselves back into the game with 16-17 minutes to go, give themselves a chance. A sheer bit of brilliance
Did you hear me
from Johan Tukalet.
Yeah, I was trying to play advantage.
I know, sorry, I saw your arm down. I was just
There was a bash of heads there.
You need to go. Okay, no problem. No problem.
MacArthur.
When you're ready.
He took the ball into contact there for Scotland, but
Mauro?
definitely a clash of heads.
Mauro, can you hear me?
Both
we have
sides
a concussion bin coming, okay?
Of the Rugby World
Just to
Cup
let
as a
you know.
target, of course. Argentina looking for a solid sequence of displays at the World Cup and an improved performance profile in the Rugby Championship.
I'll try and let it play.
So they've come into these tests with that upcoming series in mind. Pumas resting most of their mainline stars. This the mix and match Pumas, Jaguars, Pampas squad, and Nicolas Sanchez, 9 points to his name, was one of the men involved in that head collision. And you may have heard John Lacey talking about a concussion bin.
Okay, yes, thank you, make the substitution.
Of course, the players, Argentina, are parading here in front of a big crowd in Córdoba. Will be busting to force their way into the Rugby Championship and World Cup contention. So Sanchez, looking very groggy, is off for further attention and consideration. Argentina in the World Cup in a pool with New Zealand, Tonga and Georgia, and they'll feel that gives them a negotiable route to the quarter-finals, you would think. So with 15 months to the Rugby World Cup of 2015, these tests offering a real proving ground for some of the maturing Pumas in this June test panel, as well as the Scots. So Duncan Weir again into the corner.
I'll watch the back, you watch the lifters in the front. Thank you, Lawrence.
Not a man they can really afford to miss at this stage. Sanchez, their fulcrum, and it's Gilchrist who takes. In goes Fusaro. Fusaro's at the tail of that.
No.
Again, Argentina doing some good work in there, not just good work. That's brilliant work, because they've turned the ball over, and that will be a crushing disappointment for the Scottish side, having taken two options now to go for the line out instead of taking the points, and now they've given away the ball. Here is Kubeli. And there is a knock forward there.
Two knock-ons.
First one by Scotland, scrummage to Argentina. So things looking pretty grim for the Scots just now.
Yeah, it was Chris Fissaro at the back of the Scotland drive on the line out who got ball turned over against him. And that rate of handling errors started to mount.
On the last scrum, both of you are gone in.
It's always an interesting debate, isn't it, Mark, when a team have an opportunity of 3 points and then the converted try would help, and the option to try and go for the converted try first. On this occasion, Grant Gilchrist decided that he felt he could get over the line from the drive, but Argentina defended both those lineouts extremely well. Disrupted that Scotland driving play.
Closer, please. Crouch! Bind! Set!
Well, they changed the front row of Argentina, and it seems to have had an effect. Picked up at the tail there by Oweli. He's had his head shaved since last week, and it's a tradition amongst the Pumas when you make your debut at senior level.
Listen to me.
Out comes the razor. Penalty. And very much it is going Argentina's way at the moment. If they lose this one, Scotland, heaven knows what awaits them in Port Elizabeth against the Springboks next week.
Yeah, notice Chris Fissaro gets into a position, but once he goes to the deck, he doesn't release his man. He's going to get back onto an onside position and maybe just showing a bit of frustration, having lost the ball in the earlier drive in Scotland's line-out.
Iglesias Valdez. Oweli gets his hand to it just about. And it was Chaparro, but it's Harley who's got his hands on the ball for Scotland. Here goes Pyrgos. And low on that look. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The forward pass there. And well, that's the lack of precision, the lack of accuracy that again will have hugely frustrated Vern Cotter.
I'm going to come this side. I'm going to come this side.
Well, it's frustrating, isn't it? Just, it's as simple as that. The basic errors from Scotland's performances are starting to litter their game. And the ascendancy and the comfortable sort of area in the set piece that we saw in the opening sort of 10-15 minutes of this game. You thought that Scotland would lay down a platform, and they just haven't quite nailed it in the second half. Argentina have been right up for the fight as a concussion man Nicolas Sanchez looks on.
And hoping to get back on. I think Landazzo has gone to 10, has he? Or is it Iglesias? Because Iglesias playing 12 today is an out half. He played out half against Uruguay in the Consur Cup last month.
We've had no problems till you guys have come on. We get ear to ear.
Big lump on the right hand side of
if you delay a free kick.
Nicolas Sanchez's head there, isn't it? It looks like one of the Adams family. If you remember the Adams family. That's for our older members of our audience.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
So Kubeli feeds. Scotland driving through the front row there and completely destroying the Argentine scrummage.
Thank you. Under pressure, Hooker.
Well, now Grant Gilchrist says take the 3, sir, so it's up to The fly half and the boot of Duncan Weir. He's certainly well within his range, but an interesting call immediately from Gilchrist, and maybe reflecting on his 2 previous calls and penalties, and the offer of the points.
Well, the 2 previous kicks, one was from quite wide out, one was not that far away from being very adjacent to the post, so it's interesting, having turned down those 2 kicks for the corner, on this occasion with a much more difficult kick, they've decided to go for the 3. And this simply has to go over. There's a few vuvuzelas around us here, close to the commentary position. The dreaded vuvuzelas. Will they put off Duncan Weir? No, they will not. And that was absolutely critical for Scotland if they are to come back and win this Test match. Not sure the 4th official's too happy with something that's going on the Scottish bench there.
Score.
Yeah, and it's Iglesias who takes the restart, even though Sanchez is back on the field now for Kubeli.
Well, Mark, for me, Scotland have to now start to think about the territory and really play some smart rugby. They have the ability to attack down that left-hand channel, as we've seen, and some dynamic running of Seymour. But Weir will be on a tight angle here, as Kieran Lowe was just getting some treatment there for cramp.
Just to give you an idea what sort of squad Scotland are up against, with a squad along similar Pampas lines, Argentina played England twice last June. They lost 32-3 and 51-26, 11 tries to 4 overall. Marlon Yard scored 2 tries in the second test. Argentina conceded 2 penalty tries. And remember, England were missing a load of players who were away on the Lions tour. But of course, Scotland have an absolutely incredible catalogue of injury. A very, very long list of absentees. Harley driven back hard. That's good work by De La Vega. And again, it was Sanchez in helping. He is an everyman, is Nicolas Sanchez. Stuart Hogg. Pyrgos, now Grant Gilchrist doing as well as skipper to lead by example. Pyrgos to Nick DeLuca, and he's away again. Seymour looking inside, and it's brilliant by Seymour, and it's Pyrgos who capitalises. Scotland striking from deep with brilliant effectiveness.
Well, as we said, that's where all the spaces come in this game. And Tommy Seymour makes the break down that left-hand channel. Pyrgos in support.
Dion.
And literally Argentina, their numbers couldn't get back there.
Just when the defending player was chasing, was he taken out intentionally, or was it just both chasing the ball, please?
Oh, okay, repeat, what are you looking for? Was a defending player taken out?
Looking for a take out of a defending player.
There are very few tries these days that are not.
Okay, guys, just take.
There's a screen, as you can see there, right beside John Lacey. I think for a second he forgot where it was.
I think it's okay. Just checking.
Can you hear the whispers? I think it's okay.
I think it's okay. Well, I think the Scotland players were running the lines, so they're perfectly entitled to run their channels. Let's have another week. DeLuca once again gets that Seymour down that touchline. He's rung strongly. Dougie Fife in support. Well, Dougie Fife kind of tripped over.
21.
We'll want to have another look at it.
No. Dion? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm happy there's nothing in that. I'm going to award a try, unless you can tell me something different.
Yeah, no, I cannot see anything but that. I don't have anything to add.
Thank you.
Nothing to add means Scotland can add 5 points to their total. And now we have a conversion of whopping significance for Duncan Weir.
Thank you.
What's the score, sir? Was it 19-6 in the quarter?
I think so, yeah.
What's the score? Says Duncan Weir.
Have a look at the scoreboard, Duncan.
Oh, well, I got it wrong earlier, so I can't blame Duncan.
Well, that is not the scoreline.
No, you can add 5 to that. This might well win the game for Scotland. Oh dear, he sliced it straight away. It was never on target from the man whose drop goal beat Italy in the Six Nations.
Seymour's done so wrong. Pyrgos was in support. Pyrgos did extremely well. Dick DeLuca was right in support. Well, I just felt that Duncan Weir there, he just snatched it a wee bit. He lifted his head. Normally so astute in his kicking duties.
1 point between them, closing in on the last 5 minutes, and the Pumas have claimed the restart. This is Landagio. Sanchez popping the ball on, but popping it on forward. So the scrum goes Scotland's way.
Well, the game started sprightly for Scotland. It's finishing sprightly for Scotland, but can they overturn this Argentina 1 point lead?
Okay, you must stay down. Stay down in the scrum, please.
Let's go, Wesley. Let's go. Let's go, Wesley.
Well, can Scotland replicate the previous scrummage when they absolutely mashed the Puma 8?
Bind.
Drove almost clean over the top of them. Picked up by Kieran Lowe. Pyrgos. And again, who is it? Sanchez. Pyrgos. Now it's Tim Swinson, the former Falcons Player of the Year. Pyrgos into the last 5 minutes. Can Scotland get themselves into a decent attacking position? Taken by Montero. Here is Lucas Gonzalez, Zamoracino. Landagio to... Oh, I thought he'd given it to Baez. It was a great dummy run. And it's Landagio who gets away here. Landagio is caught by Stuart Hogg. Picked up by Owelli. Big, powerful number 8. And Landagio says that should be a penalty to us, but it's the other way around. And Chris Vasaro coming through there. They've got to be careful they don't have the penalty reversed here. They've got to show some discipline here, Scotland, because that penalty in that position could give them great field position if they can pump it down that far touchline.
Well, Landagio made a little bit of a meal of it, I must say, and I just wonder if John Lacey will just have another wee look at this one.
Excuse me. Yeah. If he gets involved again like the Argentinian player, you're gone. Okay? Time out.
Well, we'll get the first look of it.
He's been watching too much of the World Cup.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. I was right beside it, Chad. Thank you.
That might happen tomorrow when Argentina play around, but it shouldn't happen on a rugby field.
It's nothing.
I wonder if it's nothing, as you say, but I wonder if it's worth a case of just marching Argentina back 10 yards in a scenario like that, because we just don't want to see that on the rugby pitch, you know.
Okay.
Well, it's in the law book. You can penalise ungentlemanly conduct. And referees don't seem to apply that very often.
Holding.
Well, maybe John Lacey, I think, perhaps made a good decision there. He just ignored the situation, allows Scotland to play on. 3 minutes, can they score from the line out?
Yeah. The tackle is okay there? Fine. Yeah. Me too.
And a very narrow victory against Canada last week, 19 points to 17. and they will take a narrow victory this week before they head to South Africa. It's Pat McCarthy. That line out simply had to stick, and it was taken by Kieran Lowe. And there's an arm out from John Lacey here. Kieran Lowe's 7th take in the line out, so the advantage to Scotland, approaching the final 2 minutes. And Scotland know all about the importance of the penalty that is to come.
Well, I said, could they score from the line out? They've got the penalty. Now it's down to Duncan Weir. He has to hold his kicking form. And a win for Scotland. Well, it's been a scrappy old affair. But if they get this one, it will give them such a confidence boost.
Well, you've got to feel like the conversion attempt. This is a kick for victory. The last one went right. Needs the old ice in the mind. There's Duncan Weir. He's not going to get much help from the crowd, so he's got to get himself into the zone. The final minute approaches, and Duncan Weir has struck it firm and true, and that might well be the match winner for Scotland.
A great heart there from Duncan Weir. I was looked at a tweet from Frank Dick, the athletics coach. There's a chain of trust in a great team. Whilst one player trusts you to be there for them, you trust another to be there for you. But what could Argentina do now?
Yes. And they're claiming the penalty there, aren't they? It was Marius Orlando. And there's a chance here for Lucas Gonzalez Amorosino. He's got Montero outside. It's a welly inside. A really high tempo attack here from Argentina. Scotland's turn to show discipline. Landagio, already seen one drop goal in this game from Sanchez. Will he get himself into the pocket? Lavanini takes it on. Here is Sanchez. Now Baez. Harley makes the tackle.
Off the foot, play on.
Here's De La Vega. Got to be so careful here, Scotland.
Use it.
Landagio trying to organise the players around him. He's the man dictating the replacement scrum half, and back it goes for the drop goal attempt. How sweetly struck is it? Not sweetly enough from Sanchez, and that will be the final act of a game that had a thrilling conclusion. But it's Scotland who have squeezed through two tight victories against the USA and Canada to start this tour. Another tight victory here, 3 from 3 on the tour, as Scotland now head east. It's Port Elizabeth next for a crack at the mighty Springboks, but they have snatched the victory here in Córdoba.